What? There are starting running backs you can add right now this week to help you win. These are my waiver wire pickups for week 12 of fantasy football. What's going on, fantasy football fans? I'm your host, Hussein the Brain, and you're watching The Couch. Let's jump right into the waivers. Week 12 is the final week of bye weeks. The 4 teams on bye this week are the Cardinals, Chiefs, Chargers, and Vikings. Not a big difference when I ranked my QB ads for week 12. Not that big of a difference from Baker Mayfield all the way down to Driscoll or Fitzpatrick, or if Chase Daniel is going to start. Just not that big of a difference. Still, there's some good quality ones. Baker Mayfield going against the Dolphins, one of the worst teams in the league. And just a little bonus for Baker Mayfield, Myles Garrett is out, their best defensive player, so their defense takes a hit, allowing the Dolphins, let's say, to put up a few more points theoretically. Therefore, Baker Mayfield may have to throw the ball a few more times, so that's a little boost right there if you do need to stream Baker Mayfield. Super risky, but the ceiling is okay. This video is sponsored by monkeyknifefight.com. It's a super easy, simple way to play daily fantasy prop games such as over-under, fantasy challenge, and my favorite, the touchdown dance, where you pick 3 players, and if they score a touchdown, you get to dance. I love playing on here because it only takes about a minute to enter the contest that I want to enter, and I don't have to compete with like 10,000 other sharks. So head on over to monkeyknifefight.com, or better yet, follow the link below in the description and use promo code COUCH when you deposit. That way you'll get a 100% deposit match up to $50. Again, head on over to the link in the description and use promo code COUCH. Now back to the waivers. Then we have Derek Carr. A little bit of the opposite of Baker Mayfield. High floor, not the best ceiling, but against the Jets, he might have one of his better games. The game plan should be to try to play defense and run the ball, but the Raiders don't have the best defense. Derek Carr, very accurate, very efficient. Raiders are fighting for a playoff spot. I really didn't see that coming. They're playing well the last few weeks. Derek Carr is an excellent stream option, and as far as trust goes, I can easily rank him number 1 because he has been playing much better than Baker Mayfield. I do trust him more. Shoot, I might as well rank him number 1 because I don't trust Baker Mayfield, but the matchup is sweet. And in that same game, we have Sam Darnold. He's got a lot of weapons to throw to. 3 decent receivers in Robbie Anderson, Demarius, and his favorite Crowder. And now Ryan Griffin's becoming a decent tight end. Also can throw to the multiple running backs that can catch the ball. So I do like Sam Darnold here. Also, the Jets defense probably won't be able to stop the Raiders. Raiders are favorited to win, so Darnold will likely have to throw the ball a little bit. Jacoby Brissett, I originally ranked him number 2, and I was going to say, Adam, if T.Y. Hilton is healthy. But right now, T.Y. Hilton, I just got word, I haven't even checked yet, I just got the notification that T.Y. Hilton did not practice today. Don't know if that's 100% true or not. Let's just say I'm 99% sure of that. So it's trending like T.Y. Hilton's not going to play, or if he does, he's going to be severely limited or a decoy, which completely hurts the Colts offense, completely hurts Brissett's value, and so I would rather add Darnold, Carr, or Mayfield over Jacoby Brissett. Then if you're really desperate, we have Tannehill, Foles, Jeff Driscoll. If Stafford is out, my guess is that Stafford won't play. Excellent matchup against Washington. And then we have Ryan Fitzpatrick going against the Browns. No Myles Garrett there, as we discussed. And then Mitch Trubisky has a hip pointer. He was hurt. It's a little bit of a weird situation there. A lot of speculation going on. My guess is that Trubisky will play week 12. Coach Nagy said that if Trubisky is ready to go, as in if he's healthy, he's definitely going to be the starter. So let's see if Trubisky will be healthy for week 12. And by the way, super sweet matchup against the Giants for whichever Bears quarterback is going out there. Just kind of sucks that the Bears don't have a great quarterback. For running backs, we have a couple really good ones, and that's Kalen Ballage going against the Browns. So the Dolphins traded away their starting running back, Kenyon Drake, to the Cardinals. Their number 2 running back gets suspended, and now he gets cut by the Dolphins for an incident he had. And Kalen Ballage now is really the only running back. Patrick Laird and Myles Gaskin gets a boost, but in fantasy, we hardly trust Kalen Ballage. We don't really trust any Dolphins running backs as is, so I'm not even going to include him on this list. Kalen Ballage, though, decent matchup. He's going to get a good amount of carries, and he can catch the ball, so he's good in both non-PPR and PPR. Then we have Bo Scarborough, and pretty confident he's going to be the starter going forward because Ty Johnson's just really not good. And Bo Scarborough has been okay his first start. He did well and got a good matchup against Washington. I'd be fine with either of those 2 running backs if you were desperate for a stream, like if you're a Dalvin Cook owner or if you own one of the Chiefs running backs or something like that. Then we have Jonathan Williams of the Colts. Now, watching this guy, it's clear to me, and I think everybody else, that Williams is far superior to Jordan Wilkins. So we have Jonathan Williams. I'm trying not to get the names mixed up. And then we have Jordan Wilkins. And Jordan Wilkins has been pretty disappointing. He's just not that good. I think he's comfortable with the Colts, but he's not really that good. I think Jonathan Williams offers a little bit of a spark. Now, here's the most likely scenario that's going to happen. If Jordan Wilkins is active, we're probably going to see a running back by committee. Now, Marlon Mack is for sure out. He's going to miss multiple weeks. I like Jonathan Williams the most, though. If let's say all 3 are healthy between Williams, Hines, and Wilkins, I just want to temper expectations that it is likely going to be the 3 of them splitting time. Now, Nyheim Hines does offer a good amount of value in PPR leagues, but in non-PPR, he's not worth an add by any means. Don't start him in non-PPR. And then we have Darren Williams, who is on bye, but McCoy suffered a concussion and Damian Williams got hurt. I believe it was a rib injury Monday night against the Chargers. I just want to reiterate that the Chiefs are on bye this week, though. J.D. McKissic, he has some value in PPR, very similar to Nyheim Hines. And I talked about Jordan Wilkins. Now, he has an ankle injury, so he might not play. He might play. He might suit up and not get any carries. Just a big question mark there. He's a guy you really don't want to pick up. And I'm not mentioning guys like Tony Pollard on this list and Madison, because I've already talked about handcuffing your picks and whatnot. I've mentioned those guys in several videos. I did want to mention Gus Edwards, not necessarily as a handcuff. I just had to say it again. I know he's been featured on these videos, but in non-PPR deep leagues, he's worth an add. He only got 4 catches this entire year, so in PPR leagues, you can pretty much forget about it unless you're in a super deep league or something like that. And then if you're really desperate, we have Rex Burkhead, who's pretty much always involved somehow in the offense as long as he's healthy. Trey Edmonds if James Conner is out. And then for the Niners, we have a bit of a mess here, and I'm going to talk about really quickly. Matt Breida might miss one more game here, so if he does, Raheem Mostert, excellent add, excellent start. I added him last week in a couple leagues already. Kyle Juszczyk is pretty good in, I would say, PPR leagues. It has to be a deep league, though. Like, we're not talking about pick up Kyle Juszczyk and start him in a 10-team league. That's insane. But if you're in a deep league, 16 teams or deeper, and it's PPR and you're super desperate, Kyle Juszczyk is there. And then also we have Jeff Wilson, who I think really had only one play, but it was for a touchdown. They like to use the running backs and fullbacks, the 49ers. Because of matchups and certain situations, not gonna lie, there's not a lot of quality ads at wide receiver. I would argue and say there's none. Sterling Shepard, I've liked him all year long, but this is not really the ideal case to start him going up against the Bears in Chicago, coming off a concussion, and I don't know if he's going to play or not for sure. He's trending towards playing, so let's see what happens. He hasn't played a lot with Danny Dimes, though, so there's a lot of worry here. He's missed a lot of time. He had a pretty serious concussion, it seems like, and may not have that much rapport and chemistry with Daniel Jones. Let's see what happens. I did want to put him number 1 because he's probably worth starting as a flex or wide receiver 3 if you need him to, but also as a long-term ad. A lot of people dropped him, especially that he's been out and on bye last week. So he's definitely worth an ad. At the worst, he's a wide receiver 4 on your team and you bench him. Great stash. Okay start if you're desperate. Then we have Hunter Renfrow. The last 3 games, he's been averaging 6 targets per game. That's actually more than Terrell Williams. He's really come into his own, and as a rookie, he can only improve. And going up against the Jets, I do see him getting another 6 targets this game. Not great in non-PPR, but he's okay in PPR leagues. Taylor Gabriel has a great matchup. I just wish I knew what this quarterback situation was with the Bears. I think Taylor Gabriel will have a good game regardless of who the quarterback is. Not a big difference between Trubisky and Chase Daniel. Some would argue that Daniel is a better passer. Juju Smith-Schuster and Dante Johnson are hurt, so James Washington default has to be added to this list. Ted Ginn Jr. in a revenge game against the Panthers, and I really didn't want to add Corey. This is just such a big mess. I don't know. Like, Ryan Tannehill's been playing well, but I don't know who the receivers are going to be for the tight ends ever. Like, which one's going to do well? Is it going to be Jonnu? Is it going to be Delaney? Is it going to be A.J. Brown, Humphreys, Tajay Sharp, Corey Davis? And last week, like, Ryan Tannehill did okay, or was that week 10? And none of the receivers that we wanted did well. Like, Humphreys had 1 catch for a touchdown. So it's just so tough to predict. I do think that's a good formula in real life. Like, you don't have one receiver that the opposing defense can just double and then the offense stops. It's the opposite of that. Ryan Tannehill spreads the ball and he does it successfully. Still, Corey Davis is the wide receiver 1 if he's healthy. He has a hip injury and he did miss week 10, but they did have a bye week, week 11, so he might be back. Then we have Nelson Aguilar, who's going viral because he can't catch. Demaryius Thomas, sneaky start against the Raiders. Philip Dorsett, Josh Reynolds, because Brandon Cooks is always out. And then on top of that, we saw that Woods missed the game for personal reasons. Don't have any information on that. Allen Lazard, I love as a stash. If I had to own 2 wide receivers in Green Bay, it would be Devontae Adams and then Allen Lazard, because I've already seen a good amount of Geronimo play. I've seen MVS play. I've seen Kumaro play. And Lazard has been the one that's actually been performing the best. He needs to get more snaps, but especially in dynasty leagues, I like the potential of Allen Lazard. I feel like he's worth a stash, not worth playing this week unless you're in some psychotic 32-team league. That's just nuts. Yeah, you don't want to start him, but I love him as a stash. Then we have Danny Amendola, Mecole Hardman because Tyreek Hill got hurt, Traquan Smith, love him as a stash, not as a start. Anthony Miller, sweet matchup against the Giants. Allen Hurns has pretty much taken the role that Preston Williams had, playing opposite of Devontae Parker. Alex Erickson, because the Bengals don't have anybody to throw to anymore. Albert Wilson of the Dolphins. Tim Patrick's going to likely be the wide receiver 2 for the Broncos. He just came back off injury last week. And then we have John Ross on IR, designated to return. Earliest he can return, though, however, is week 14 for the first round of the fantasy playoffs. I think we have some really good quality at tight end, and that's the top 4 names right here. Jacob Hollister, not the best matchup against the Eagles, but matchups don't matter most of the time for tight ends. Okay, sometimes they do matter. Some teams are great against tight ends or horrible, like the Cardinals, for instance. Every tight end balls out when they play against the Cardinals, except that one week where I pick up Eifert in Dynasty and he doesn't do well. Whatever. Other than that week, every tight end does well against the Cardinals. Jacob Hollister still, if you don't start him this week, he's still pretty much a must add, especially as like a tight end too, a stash. Like, you gotta add him. There's so many weird things going on with tight ends. I mean, like, look at Hooper, look at Kittle, even Ertz sometimes is not performing well and Goddard is outperforming him. So with all this uncertainty at tight end, it's a good idea to have Jacob Hollister, who I do see as a tight end one. I think he's a top 10 tight end going forward and a must add. Then we have Delaney Walker. If he's healthy, he had an ankle injury, but this bye week should have done him well. Hopefully he'll be back week 12. Ryan Griffin going against the Raiders. Jack Doyle going against the Texans. May want to check if Eric Ebron is going to play or not, just to do your due diligence. Jack Doyle obviously still has value if Ebron plays and is healthy. Then we have Dallas Goedert, Vance McDonald, Mike Gesicki, Cameron Bray, Noah Fant, Jason Witten, Dawson Knox, Tyler Eifert, Ben Watson, and Adam Thielen should be coming back soon, and that will hurt the value of Kyle Rudolph and Irv Smith. Still, I like how they came to life and they started using both tight ends. Both tight ends have been doing well the last couple weeks. Keep in mind the Vikings are on bye. For defenses, I like the Browns and Lions. Now, yeah, of course, the Browns would get a boost if Myles Garrett were playing, but now that he's not, there's a lot of uncertainty here. Still, they got to be number one because the Lions haven't performed well as a team. They allow a lot of points. Quarterbacks, running backs do well against them. Still a good matchup, though, against Washington. And then after that, it's pretty much a crapshoot. Like, I really don't know what's going to happen, but I did try to rank these the best I can. We have the tight ends going against the Jags in a low-scoring game. I like the Texans D going against the Colts, but only if Hilton is out. We know Mack is out, so that's really the only reason I like the Texans D, because the Colts are banged up. If they were fully healthy, I would not like the Texans defense, and J.J. Watt's done for the year as well. Jaguars going against the tight ends in what should be a low-scoring game, but might not be. Giants, kind of a bad defense, but a great matchup going against the Bears. Bears don't score a lot of points. Falcons D is back. Ever since the bye week and Dan Quinn making those coaching changes, Falcons D is playing incredible. They're really fast. They have a lot of speed, and they've been using it to make plays. They're going against the Bucs. We all know what Jameis Winston does well. He throws multiple picks. Seahawks going against the Eagles. Eagles are pretty banged up. Keep tabs on Alshon Jeffrey's injury, though. Broncos going against the Bills in what should be a low-scoring game. Raiders going against the Jets, and Jets going against the Raiders. And in super deep leagues, we have the Eagles D and Bengals D. Don't trust them, but the Steelers are so banged up. Keep tabs on their injuries. You might be able to get the Bengals via free agency if you're in a super deep league and you're super desperate. It should be a low-scoring game, although Steelers should still dominate this game regardless. And for kickers, I really do like the first three kickers quite a bit. And then around number 7 is when there's just a little bit of a fall off. Yeah, right there. So Matt Prater going against Washington, no brainer. Matt Prater is one of the better kickers in this league. Great matchup. Don't really care who the quarterback is for the Lions. They'll get in field goal range. They'll kick plenty of extra points and field goal attempts. And I do trust Matt Prater to make those. He's very accurate and has a strong leg. Nick Folk. Now, I've been looking at the stats, and I haven't seen this man kick a long field goal in over like 2 years. So, does he still have the leg? That's my biggest concern with Nick Folk. Accuracy is there. He's 100% from extra points and field goals this year. Decent matchup. I like him when he's at home, but I don't know if he has that upside. Maybe when they're in limbo, when they're in no man's land, and it's going to be like a 50-yard field goal. I think Belichick would go for it. Like, let's say if it's 4th and 4 or 4th and 3, and, it's going to be a 50-yarder. I think Belichick would go for it, and that we don't like that. That doesn't offer us that upside that, let's say, Justin Tucker or Greg the Leg Zuerlein would offer us. And so be wary of Nick Folk. Still, I did want to put him up here. Then we have Younghoe Koo of the Atlanta Falcons. Bucks actually allow a lot of fantasy points to kickers. Should be a good matchup. plenty of times where the Falcons will get in field goal range against the Buccaneers. Then we have Cami Fairbairn going Thursday night against the Colts. Steven Hauschka, I like him again this week. My only worry is that this might be a super low scoring game, and that just doesn't bode well for kickers a lot of the times. But sometimes it does, because low scoring could mean field goal fest, and that's very likely that this game is going to be a field goal fest. And so I have Steven Hauschka. I'm probably going to keep him unless I can get Matt Prater. I do like Hauschka this week. And we have Robbie Gould, who's now been hurt, been out for a couple weeks. He's slated to come back this week, but I'm not sure of that, so keep tabs on that. It's not been a great year for the Niners special teams when Robbie Gould was healthy and kicking. Not been a great year for Robbie Gould, but maybe this extra time off is what he needed and he should be back to form. Again, that's just me speculating. That's my guess. I always liked Robbie Gould. Hopefully this time off will make him 100%. Then we have Austin Seibert, who I pretty much never would start, but going against the Dolphins, I do love the Browns kicker. And in deeper leagues, and if you're desperate, we have Jason Myers going against the Eagles, same game. Jake Elliott going against the Seahawks. Chris Boswell going against the Bengals in a low-scoring game. Ryan Suckup going against the Jags. Josh Lambo, Daniel Carlson, and Sam Ficken. Make sure you guys check out the link below. Head on over to Monkey Night Fight and use my promo code COUCH. You'll get a 100% deposit match up to $50. Also, really helps support this channel. I wish you guys good luck this week. Make sure you subscribe to Fantasy Couch. Also, make sure you subscribe to our second YouTube channel, Fantasy Couch Podcast. Hit this video with a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you didn't like it. Hey, it's week 12, guys. We did it. Let's keep it going. Let's get that W.